Oprah Winfrey paid a fortune to Apple TV Plus chiefs to buy back the rights to a documentary about her life. Apple announced with great fanfare in 2021 that Oscar-winning filmmaker Kevin McDonald would be directing the documentary about the talk show host turned media mogul. However, sources say that McDonald, who teamed up with Winfrey's longtime producer Lisa Esprimer on the project, had clashed with the billionaire after he finished the film, and it's been on hold ever since. Kevin made the film, but Oprah didn't like it and he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple, at least according to a well-placed Hollywood source. While industry sources speculate Oprah would have to pay millions to get the rights to the documentary back, a source in the know denies that it was 7 figures. But here's the thing. Oprah's documentary is not the first high-profile release to be put on ice. Netflix's years in the making Prince documentary is being held hostage due to objections from the 7-time Grammy winner's estate. Looks like documentary making isn't exactly profitable these days. Oprah's been rightfully called out for using weight loss medication, despite being a longtime ambassador for Weight Watchers. The famous public figure has confirmed she uses an unnamed substance to help control her weight. This was in a revealing chat, and she said her new slim figure is thanks to the medication and a healthier lifestyle overall. She says, "I now use it as I feel I need it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing." She added that the fact that there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight and staying healthier in my lifetime feels like a relief, like redemption, like a gift, not something to hide behind and once again be ridiculed for. In a conversation with People magazine, she concluded that she's absolutely done with the shaming from other people and particularly herself. But here's the thing, a lot of folks and a lot of fans feel like the billionaire philanthropist is being hypocritical. Once again, given she is a proud spokesperson for Weight Watchers. She's worked with that company since 2017. One social media user wrote, "What I don't like about Oprah is she is clearly off doing Ozempic, but yet she's still pushing Weight Watchers." Another was like, "Done with shaming but okay with lying." And a lot of folks called her out, and rightfully so, for letting them believe she did it the old-fashioned way. And they're like, "Why'd you lie?" Well, I can tell you why. The legend of Oprah Winfrey as an extremely poor girl growing up without a father to a too-young mother who, as Oprah claimed, carried with shame during pregnancy and then neglected her, spread when Oprah began giving interviews in Chicago. She said, "Oh, how they harmed me. I wanted to be white because I never saw white people being hurt." That's what she said, folks. She remembered her early years as being lonely. She didn't play with anybody except for, I think, the pigs she rode without a saddle in her grandmother's garden. She said, "The only thing I could talk to was the animals in the farmyard. I read them Bible stories. And apparently the years spent with a mother on welfare were even worse. We were so poor we couldn't afford a dog or a cat, so I had 2 cockroaches as pets. I put them in a jar and named them Melinda and Sandy." She entertained her audiences with stories about fetching water from the well, milking cows, emptying the drinking pot, all pretty much a fairy tale. She told her stories about her grandmother who swung a switch, her grandfather who was mean with a stick, the people who raised her for the earliest years of her life. She said, "Oh, how they harmed me." And she mentioned like her grandmother would harm her all the time. It's an integral part of Southern tradition, the way folks raise people. You spill something, game over. You tell a story, game over. She said, "Oh, it could happen all day. Nobody would ever get tired." But here's the thing. Not everybody in Oprah's family agrees with this desperate upbringing. Her mother, Vernita Lee, when asked about her daughter's habits of self-dramatization, said, "Oprah's a bit of a cold smoker." Now, if you're confused there, don't worry. Oprah's sister later dispelled the myth of immense poverty. She said, well, of course we weren't rich, but Patricia said that Oprah exaggerated how bad it was for them. She guesses the viewers would love her, the audience would grow if she told these stories. Cockroaches were never her pet. She always had a dog. She had a white cat, she had an eel in a tank, she had a parakeet named Bo Peep that was, learning to speak. Where Oprah got that nonsense about growing up in filth and roaches, I have no idea, according to cousin Catherine Carr Esters. She said, "I've confronted her and asked, 'Why do you tell such lies?' And Oprah said, 'That's what people want to hear. The truth is boring.'" So on air, Oprah's portrayed as this wholesome, sweet lady, this big philanthropist. But according to her stepmother, there is an unknown side to Oprah. This was a side hidden from fans for years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you will ever meet. According to Barbara, Oprah would not allow the family to stay at her house when they tried to visit, forcing them instead to stay in hotels, paying out of pocket. Barbara also said that Oprah was quick to anger when it came to her staff, with quite a few people being fired left and right over the years. But that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara, by the way, allows Oprah to stay at her home for visits, and Oprah's not a fan. So confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Look, Marvel will literally have somebody take you out if even a single line leaks to the public. Well, in Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that coworkers and guest stars had to sign to be on any of her shows. So this was like everybody. We're talking like Tom Cruise to the person who made Tom's muffin. Over 500 staff members over time were forced to sign this document, if not more. One former employee, Elizabeth Cody, tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah. But then again, that NDA, because, well, you signed that agreement, game over. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to keep just show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the documents were signed by almost everybody in Oprah's life. So Elizabeth felt she was kind of being muzzled afterwards. And if you think this didn't extend to the guests, don't worry. In 2010, Unicus Performance Training filed a lawsuit against Oprah and her company Harpo, claiming they never got paid for a workout program they were developing, because Harpo fired them for violating the terms of their confidentiality agreement. How so? Well, UPT sent out a mass email promoting their upcoming appearance on Oprah's radio show, and according to the NDA, they weren't allowed to use Harpo's name, Oprah.com's name, or Oprah's name for advertising or promotional use. But they were just promoting their appearance on her show. They weren't saying anything like, hush hush. So Oprah has owned over 21 dogs throughout her lifetime, if we're not even counting the ones she allegedly had in her upbringing. But here's the thing, being a dog mom hasn't come without its challenges. At one point, two of the mogul's dogs were at odds for over a decade, leaving her frustrated as she tried to maintain peace in the house. She even created barriers to keep them from being in the same room. Thankfully, her relief came when she met Cesar Millan, the renowned dog whisperer, who transformed the household dynamic. He explained that her house was like maximum security because she had to separate the Cocker Spaniel, Sophie, and the Golden Retriever, Luke. Apparently, this was going on for 11 years. How did this happen? Well, Oprah's bond with Sophie was particularly deep. In 2011, she shared that one of her greatest teachers was Sophie. Sophie lived for 13 years and came to work with Oprah every day. She was there for every show, she was backstage at the Oscars and the Emmys. She even waited in the car if Oprah went to an appointment. She was so attached to Oprah that if Oprah even left her in a hotel room for 5 minutes, Sophie would start howling. She had separation anxiety, and it was really bad. There were so many times that Oprah thought she was going to get kicked out of hotels. Oprah has long been claimed to be a great charitable woman, and recently she's been, an outspoken advocate for the island of Maui. But here's the thing, when everything happened last year, she started a fund. She didn't really donate a lot of money. She was asking for you to give her your money to help everybody else. And a lot of folks were like, hey, why aren't people speaking up about this? Why aren't we calling Oprah out for being a phony? Folks were like, well, she's only really doing this because that's where her vacation home is. She doesn't actually care. And a lot of folks found that really shallow and really awful. And that's all, folks. See you next time.